What is going on, everyone? Greatest Hits here. I am back yet with another video, and today we are at the shop at my side job since I have a lift and my tools and everything and just everything I need to work on this car, get the motor, transmission, drive shaft in, and cut some things out on the car as well. But today we have the wheels off, we have the steering rack off. We're gonna reuse the steering rack and we're going to loop the line. So we're gonna take this line off and then loop it over here like that. And right now I'm just taking everything apart. Wiring is just laying everywhere, but that will be fixed eventually. The K member. This is the factory K member here, and we are going to take all the bolts off of the K member and the control arms, and it should come down from there. And we got ourselves a brand new tubular K member that we're going to be installing. And then after that, I'm going to put the motor in from the top and then the transmission in from the bottom. As you come along here, as you can see, this is the Turbo 400 shifter and the shifter cable. It's really, really long, but I'm going to bend it. Matter of fact, move this out of the way. I'm gonna bend it, and then it's going to sit like right about there, or something like that, or maybe like that, because that's where the cable is going to be located. Now, as far as cleaning this engine bay, I honestly don't care. I really don't. It's race car. Not all race cars are meant to look clean and shiny. This is not a show car. I might clean it up a little bit, but this is where we're at. I'm just trying to put everything together and get the car running. We are honestly going to keep the 10-bolt rear end in here. I'm probably gonna put some Moser axles behind it, a stronger posi, and then maybe 373s or 410 gears or something like that behind this. Even though these 10-bolt rear ends are not that reliable when it comes to horsepower and torque, I'm just going to make it live for as long as I can until I have another $3,000 to put a racing Moser 12-bolt rear end behind here. But for right now, that's what we're going to be doing. Let me show you the transmission over here. Here's the transmission, Jake's Performance. Transmission is done, converter's in, like you saw in the other video. K member right here. Still hasn't gotten unwrapped yet. You got the Turbo 400 cross member that bolts on that 400. I also got all the bolts for it in here. I also got the flex plate bolts, or converter bolts really. Spark plugs, a bunch of other stuff. And yeah, so let's get to it. Take the K member out, put the new K member in, and I may turn this into like a part video. I don't know, but we'll see. There we go, guys. Now we can bring the K member down slowly. It's actually not that heavy. Let's make sure nothing else is hung up on anything like that. Yeah, it's actually decently light, but hell yeah. All right. Nut here. It is out, guys. As you can see, it's completely gutted, pretty much. Okay, member, see how it's big and bulky? Here's the aftermarket lightweight BMR tubular K member here. Yes, sir. Look at the difference. This is where the engine will mount. This is where the steering rack will mount here. From there to here. This is where the rest of these holes and these brackets will mount onto the actual chassis of the car. And then this is where the lower control arms will be mounted as well. And they gave me washers, so I guess this goes on to the new bolts. So yeah, or goes on to the used bolts that I'm going to be reusing. Bring up this here. I mean, this wiring is really in the way. I don't know. Or I can just sit it over there. Alright, so put one bolt in there at a time. I'm gonna put this in here like that. Alright. What's going on, everybody? It's the next day. So right now we are pulling the engine out over here of my truck bed, and we're just gonna carry it right over here on this stand. And then once I finish cutting up this chassis here, I'm gonna cut all the way across here for the stand-up radiator. And I'm gonna cut the cowl over there too. I'm gonna start from here and then go all the way down to about there. Now hopefully I can still keep my wiper blades. I'm not sure about my cowl cover itself, but I wanna keep the wiper blades. And then once I put the engine in, I can test fit the truck intake and see how much more room I need and go from there. I'm also cutting out this license plate cover. If you live like in Texas, Illinois, or anywhere else where it requires you to have a front license plate as well on your vehicle, then that's where this would sit. But I'm cutting this out because the intercooler is going to need some air going through this hole that I'm going to cut, and through the front bumper, and yeah, I mean, intercoolers need cool air, direct cool air, and that will cool down the turbo and the motor and all that. So yeah, let's do it. That was a workout. Now, this is a plastic crash cover here, but this is going to have to be removed, including the fog lights, because the intercooler is so big it's going to sit in front of all of this. And I'm not going to keep these fog lights because they're kind of crappy and I just don't want them. And that just gives more air to go inside these holes, so that the intercooler can get, so the intercooler can stay cool. Okay, as you can see, I made a mark and I went all the way down, because when I'm gonna put that stand-up radiator, it's not going to lean over on this bracket here down here like the stock radiator did. It was leaning just like this from the factory. It's going to straighten up and then go underneath all of this metal here. So I'm going to cut all the way down there and then get that wiring harness off of here, as you can see down there, and then cut it off with this wheel. Alright, this is toast. Okay guys, I know this looks pretty crappy, and I still have to grind on those edges there because I don't want the radiator sitting on that and puncture the radiator, and now the radiator is leaking. But this is basically what it looks like right here. And cut the section off over there where the radiator cap would sit right here. And that's pretty much it, guys. So now we can go ahead and put the engine in, hopefully put the transmission in too. And after that, I got to take these fuel lines off because I'm gonna go with aftermarket fuel lines. I already got the pump off. Got the cowl off already. I don't know if I'll have time to cut that. And to be honest with you, I think I'm just gonna go ahead and get a low profile LS6 intake on it because yeah, I don't feel like cutting that. I really don't. So I've been cutting on this for about an hour, just because I was moving stuff around, and then those fuel lines are sitting right there, so I didn't want the sparks to hit that. So and then I also cut this, like you saw previously in the video. It looks crappy, but I'm gonna try on my own time to cut the rest of this out here, and then just kind of get a like a Dremel and just kind of even everything out there and over there as well, all along there. All right, we're close, guys. All right, let's try this one more time. I extended the bar way out, and I put the hook on the front of the hole of the thing. Okay, push it back. Alright, so now it's time to put the transmission in. Make sure the converter is all the way seated. It's not supposed to be bottom out to the actual pump, but just make sure that it's seated all the way to where it can't be pushed in anymore. Now, when you put the transmission, specifically a Turbo 400, into the back of the engine, first of all, make sure you have this spacer here inside of that crankshaft, just sitting in there like so. There we go. And make sure once you get all the bolts lined up with the engine and tighten all the way down, you're going to need to make sure there is specifically like a 3/8 clearance between the converter and then the pump on the transmission, because it's going to come out just a hair whenever you put the bolts onto the engine. From the actual force where you put the nut and bolt on there, it's going to pull this converter out just enough to where it has plenty of clearance between the converter, the engine, and the transmission. So this side here, this little circle thing that's on the converter, is going to seat up in here. I've already tested that theory to make sure it fits, and as you can see, it does. I also have some ARP bell housing bolts from a Turbo 400 through a LS, meaning LS Turbo 400 marries together through these bolts. So I'm so glad I got these, because this was one of the things that I've forgotten. And honestly, the motor and transmission that I sold, which was really to my dad, he has all of those bolts. So anyways, now if you don't have these bolts, I believe you can still reuse the stock 4L60 bell housing bolts to the Turbo 400. It's pretty much the same. So yeah. Okay, transmission is in, guys. The bolts are 11 millimeters, at least the ones that I'm using. So yeah, let's thread these things in here. Okay guys, so we finally got the transmission in. As you guys can see, let me grab the light. Right, I don't know if y'all can see that. Okay, there we go. Right up in there, you can see a little gap right between the pump and that orange looking seal, and then the actual converter itself. That's how much space you need between those two, and I'm actually gonna measure it here in a minute. But it is in. Now here's what I'm kind of iffy about. This bolt is threaded in properly, but the whole bushing is kind of like bent. Y'all can see that. Like it's kind of crooked. So I'm gonna have to figure that out, or buy a different bushing or something like that, because I tried shifting this whole cross member over, but as you can see, there's no threaded holes. It's just straight up holes up in there. So that's what I did. And quite honestly, that hole right there is not lining up with that hole right there, that rectangular shape hole. So yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and put the aftermarket torque arm on, and the drive shaft loop, and basically this whole assembly back on, and then we're going to fit the drive shaft up to make sure it fits right. Alright, so all that's left is this drive shaft. I actually got this drive shaft for free from James, the guy that I did the car review on. A long time ago, he had the car, I think he had the car on turbos, but he just wanted to get it running. That's kind of what I'm trying to do right now. So he just bought a drive shaft from Southern West Speed with a 10-bolt rear end U-joint, and then a Turbo 400 slip yoke there. And now all I got to do is really see if it fits up in here and goes all the way down to the back. If it doesn't fit, then we're just gonna have to get a custom drive shaft, keep that slip yoke there and that U-joint. It fits, and I am so excited right now. Oh man, look at this. Look at that. Yes. Now this is a temporary deal right here. I don't know how strong this drive shaft is, but James recommends that I don't put too much power to this drive shaft, but this is just so I can get the car running and tuned a little bit, and then we can go and get a 3-inch or 4-inch drive shaft, something beefier, and put it back here, and then we can modify the 10-bolt back here and then just see how much it makes. And then when I have more money, like I said before, I can put a $3,000 rear end in here that's stronger than this one. So yeah, there you go, guys. So this is how far it comes out, so that's pretty normal. Some drive shafts are slipped in more, some are not, but yeah, there it is, guys. So this is the complete product right here. I still got some adjusting to do, like that cross member mount bushing there with the bolt all crooked. That's temporary. I just got it on zip ties right now. The shifter cable, transmission's in, like I said, engine's in, K members in. Ooh, awesome. Okay, so that's pretty much it for this video, guys. I'm just gonna go ahead and get me a LS6 or LS1 intake. I think I said that before in previous videos, but I wanted to throw the truck intake on there because it was cheaper, and then I don't have the LS6 intake anymore. And plus, I was going to cut this out, but after some research and some looking around and stuff, I'm going to have to remove that wiper motor just to cut all the way back so that the truck intake can fit. And I'm not going to do that. So yeah, if y'all like this one, please hit that like button and subscribe to my channel, Greatest Hits. Sorry, subscribe. And I'll holler at you all at the next one. Greatest Hits, out.